humans are poorly designed because the throat and the airways, connect, and there's only a thin flap of skin stopping your food going into your throat, into your airways.
Much like it's
apparently, we're one of the animals with a super high risk of choking to death because we're poorly constructed on an internal level.
On the plus side, we don't have to swallow with our eyeballs like frogs do.
What?
No, they have to basically. They basically
I'm imagining it, and it's weird.
Like
and
they swallow, and their eyes always shut when they swallow because literally the part of their eyes are almost like pushing the food back down. Then that's how big how much their eyes take up of their head.
God, eyes really gotta take that goddamn strain.
Do you reckon frogs have that thing where they, how humans say don't have your eyes open when you sneeze, they'll go out your head. The frogs have a thing of like, don't open your eyes when you swallow. You'll see the future.
And it's bleak, believe me.
No one wants a frog that can see the future.
Froggy.
What was that? What the fuck was that?
That was my Big the Cat impression from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right. Okay.
Oh, wait.
I thought Goofy had a stroke. Okay, good. All right.
Did you know the Big the Cat voice actor is the same voice actor as the Duke Nukem?
Yeah. I don't know why I knew that, but I did.
John St. John. That's actually his name.
Is that the big purple fucker?
Yeah, the one with the 1,000-yard stare.
That's not a cat.
Big...
It is. Are you going to argue with it?
See, Matt, the key is it's in his name.
No. He's called himself a cat, thus he is.
No. He can't. That can't be a cat. He's too big. He's Big the Cat, Matt. Deal with it.
No, he doesn't look like a cat.
And Knuckles doesn't look like an echidna. He doesn't have 4 dicks. What do you want from this franchise?
Sonic doesn't look like a hedgehog. He's blue.
I want biological
fox has 2 tails and can fucking fly using them. We don't know the rotation of his hips, but somehow he does it.
Fact versus fiction.
Does he like Judas?
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be the Zodiac Killer.
You've got the shovel. Go on, Trooper.
Child abandonment is a fun plot device.
Back away, I've got a circle of sin and I'm not afraid to use it.
He's a drug dealer. Oh no, wait, no, it's worse. He's a theatre major.
It's not awful so far.
Welcome back to Fact versus Fiction. Today I will be your host for It Is a Fact Week. My name is John, and I am a person. Right, now we've got that elephant out of the way.
I'm so glad we cleared the air. I was worried you were in fact a particularly sizable breed of caterpillar.
Yeah, it is good to clarify every now and then.
This can be Alice in Wonderland flashbacks. It's great.
This is him pre-chrysalis.
Pre-chrysalis.
What, one podcast? John's just going to be wrapped up, and we'll just hear his muffled voice, and then he'll burst free, and he'll be a beautiful boy.
But will he look like the butterfly from fucking Dark Souls, or like an actual one?
The moonlight butterfly.
Yeah.
I'm not a beautiful boy. How dare you?
Shooting magical beams.
I don't think this could his face could launch the fleet of Greece or a fleet of Athens or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure I could get us at least a frigate. Anyway,
if you can get us a frigate, I will happily
launch one. Not just turn my. Hey, would you like a? I need a frigate. No
charisma check. He's waiting to get us a frigate.
The entire party have misunderstood what he's doing and are wondering where their boat is.
I'll settle for a torpedo boat. or a sizable enough torpedo.
Speaking of torpedo boats, hi Matt.
Hello.
Yes, I'm joined by my co-host today, formerly known as Hidalgo Jones, but since the court case is now known as Matt.
I mean, we talked about not using my name, but we are. So, hello, yes, it's me, Hidalgo Jones. Very Spanish, as you can tell from my incredible accent. And I'm going to be reading words to you this evening.
That was going so well until you went, and I'm going to be reading words.
It's like he's got an actual auto cue in front of him, and he just realised what he has to do.
Well, let's just say there are a series of options that went through my head, and I opted for the least offensive.
Unfortunately,
to be
this
fair,
made you sound...
he is translating from Spanish to English the whole time. So.
Exactly.
Don't bat for him.
Oh, Hidalgo.
Please back the Hidalgo. That's my campaign slogan for election.
Oh God. Anything's possible. Not that though.
Should we introduce the other two?
No. Yeah. No. It's in the corner. It's Tom time. It's that Tom.
Oh shit! Here come that Tom.
Yeah, it's one of us, definitely.
It's the one we call Tom and not Corby in the podcast. We thought we'd have got this down now, 30 episodes in, but no, we don't.
It's never gonna be.
I think this is episode
Okay.
33, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, who knows? I've stopped counting.
All I know
wasn't
is
counting.
it comes out
He's too
5
busy
weeks
reading.
from now.
5 weeks in the future.
Oh.
Well,
It's
the
almost like
world
time
may
travel.
or may not have ended.
Unless we forget.
Anyway, hi, I'm Corby, and I'm our resident doomsayer, where the world may or may not have ended.
Have you consulted the chickens this morning?
Yeah, they're all dead, so that doesn't bode well.
Well, that's what-
They went very well with sweet chili sauce, though, so...
Tasty auger chickens. Mmm.
Oh, okay.
That's-
I thought you meant like the drill. Oh, it's like, how are you finding these chickens? Drill out the ground, boy. We struck.
So so I'm gonna say, we've progressed from mining for fire and babies to drilling for chicken.
Oh.
No,
I've been drilling for chickens in Ontario over the weekend.
you aim for
Those
chicken.
chickens are up to something.
You aim for chicken, but fire and babies is just a happy or unhappy side effect.
Also-
Bloody babies in my chicken man.
Also,
didn't
Matt,
put oil
I'm
in
very
if I didn't
surprised
shell
you
it
chose to drill for chicken in Ontario and not fucking Kentucky.
Let's find out. It's gone.
Well, you see,
Also, you would-
Kentucky's where all the rookies go. Rookies in Kentucky. You go to Ontario, mate. That's where all the chickens are.
They import all the ones from Kentucky from Tennessee now.
Exactly, it's a lie. The chicken economy is a lie.
It's in utter shambles.
It needs to be talked about, but I won't be doing that today.
Don't we have a question before
Believe-
you open your mouth?
Too late.
What was his response going to be to that? It couldn't. No, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's a no.
Also, I'm sorry I sounded so bitter. You stop! This is against the format.
I did forget.
You have angered the format police.
I'm sorry. Please don't make me size font New Roman 12. Help.
What?
What?
Listeners can rearrange that sentence in an order that makes sense.
Because I sure as shit ain't doing it in post.
I don't think they can.
It's supposed to give a factual funnies, not mind puzzles that don't work.
You just said a font.
He didn't even. He said Times Font New Roman. Those are the words he used, and I think there was a 12 in there as well for good measure.
Yeah, size 12.
Do something before I end up just.
Matt is the epitome of the red underline under a word.
Really bad considering I write for a living.
You know what? I don't think we need a question. I think we've just shit on Matt enough. Matt, please go ahead.
Okay, we'll break format just this once, unless anyone doesn't have a hypothetical.
Should we shit on Matt some more, or should we just let him go?
If the chicken economy...
I think we've gone long enough.
No chickens.
What's the chicken exchange rate right now?
5.
But don't convert it for gerbils and hamsters, because that's just a bottomless pit you don't want to get into.
That's like
Chicken-
the fucking Greek Dharma. Don't bother.
Chicken Bitcoin is on the rise.
Chick coin.
Chick.
The sequel to Dogecoin that no one wanted.
Okay, if we're not hypotheticaling, I will compose myself. I'll do what Hidalgo always does before a speech and aggressively stare at the nearest dressing gown in my room.
For how long?
As long as it takes.
Right.
There we go.
Okay. So,
For the listeners, you won't understand that joke because it got cut out. And by it, I mean the fucking silence that was there.
So, I will prepare. This is a great start.
Are you sure you stared at that dressing gown long enough?
I will preface this what I'm about to talk to you about with the fucking hell. Nobody
Get through
Google
a sentence. Get through a sentence.
Nobody Google anything while I'm telling you this story of this individual, as I think it will hit better if you have no context for what I'm about to talk.
Will it hit different?
I mean, sure.
Don't ask him difficult questions. It's very hard enough.
I can't even speak a sentence for me. Questions are off the table. So
The auto cue is not prepared for that.
in general, I think you would all agree that people like superheroes, and there are lots and lots of superheroes. I don't think I need to talk about Marvel and DC. Everybody pretty much knows who they are. If anyone listening to this podcast probably does, unless you found you're here by way of looking for a factual podcast that wasn't us.
Why?
We're
If that
sorry.
is true, by the way, congratulations for getting this far.
This is like if you're looking for this like on Google and you're trying to find the right answer, we're like page 17. You've gone too far, but you can't stop now.
The fact you're down this rabbit hole says a lot. Needs to say, most people like superheroes, and boy, do I have a hero for you.
Is he French?
He's not French.
That makes a change.
Look, Charles de Gaulle is everybody's hero, Corby, and the sooner you accept that, the better.
Vigorous shaking of heads. And
He
occasionally
had the power to narrowly avoid assassination.
So, the year is 1946, and our hero, Richard Allen Pester, is born to a loving family in Pittsburgh, America. There is not much on record about Richard's early life, but I think it's safe to say that from the moment he burst forth into the world, he was on a mission of justice.
I hate that sentence. Please don't.
burst.
But yeah, so
You're right,
I'm imagining like he
2016.
just came right out and punched the doctor for committing tax fraud or something.
How dare you manhandle my mother?
Well, punching isn't really his style.
Oh, he's a kick.
See,
Kick-
he's not a
kick
kicker,
boy.
he's not a puncher.
He's a headbutter.
Elbows?
We're going to fast forward to Richard's 20s. That's why we're skipping childhood. This
Whoa.
man was born a man. He aged 20 years in 20 days. I don't know if that's true. It's probably not. I'm making that up. I don't know why I said that.
I don't think you needed to clarify.
Jesus.
So, Richard is in his 20s. And he's left school, presumably to go on to uni. I couldn't find any information about this. He's gone from running, far from running around as a Cape Crusader. Richard has actually been investing in a variety of up-and-coming industries. Any guesses what he's been investing in? It's the 60s at this
GameStop.
point. He's not been invested in GameStop. Thank you for dating the episode.
That reference is timeless. GameStop's going to be around forever.
GameStop is not the answer.
It's industrial centre for like steel and the
who's-
like, and
Ooh, good guess,
Just-
John. Not
Just-
quite.
when did?
And
What year was this?
football team.
Just in the 60s.
40 in 60s. The Beatles.
and the ice hockey team there is called the Pittsburgh Penguins.
It was not. It was not the hockey team.
What's
John was relatively close with. I say relatively close. Industrial is the right area.
Cars.
bleach?
Factories.
Don't know why I thought of bleach. Industrial. Yes, the cleaning fluid. That'll get the kids going.
Well, Richard was none other than the inventor and patent owner for corrugated fiberglass.
Ah,
All right, I'm ahead. All right.
That was the response I was hoping.
Cool.
Good for him. Oh, that's exciting. Just,
I was about to
that's all
say.
that gets.
I was about to say.
To
All right,
be
I'm
honest-
head out. I deal with this on a daily basis. I'm a fuck off.
you said corrugated, and I was fully expecting the next word to be cardboard. So when you said
To be
fiberglass,
fair, yeah.
I was expecting it to be iron, and I went, well, surely that's earlier.
So Richard was the inventor and painter of corrugated fiberglass, and invested heavily in the industry. Just for anyone who's interested, fiberglass has many uses, some of which include fire protection and assisting in improving acoustics of a room. which I didn't know.
Yeah.
The industry took off, and Richard was a self-made entrepreneur soon after, like within like I think 3 or 4 years. He retired in his late 20s. So he's gone and done stuff that we don't know about, presumably gone to uni and things. It made fiberglass and then retired in his 20s. He's doing very well for himself. He
Some
is a
expensive
self-made
damn
entrepreneur.
fiberglass.
I was
He's
just
a 60s entrepreneur. They're very rare.
I was just googling to make sure I had the right material. Yeah, it is some of the stuff that you can use for wall insulation. So yeah, that's why I wanted to clock out. You've brought my work home, Matt. I'm gonna fuck off again.
Don't worry, Corby. We're about to get to the good stuff. So, Richard was now able to pursue his own dreams of superhero stardom. Smash cut to the early 1970s. We're in California now. I don't know how far.
California, here we come.
It's between Pittsburgh and California.
Just do like a word art transition.
Quite far. I think Pittsburgh's on the west coast, or
Okay,
near.
It's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Ah,
Yeah. So the other side of the US.
so we're in California now.
Yeah.
A man is getting ripped off by a local mechanic, much like many other customers in the area. People are furious about this. There's a uproar. The mechanics, they're ripping us off. They're telling us our cars, CADs are bust, other engine parts.
Oh, I hate it when my car's CADs are bust.
Suddenly, an engine roars in the distance, silencing everybody around.
Where
Around the corner speeds a custom-built Lincoln Continental, so one of those big fucking long cars, which is basically a rip-off of a Cadillac.
Oh, he's gonna. Okay, he's set off the classic car people around.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Now this Lincoln Continental is painted bright blue and gold and has a golden S emblazoned on the front of the bonnet. It sliced to a halt before the mechanic, and out steps a man in a bright blue jumpsuit with a golden cape and boots. None other than Captain Sticky. That is.
All right, that's a sex offender.
Oh no!
Also, when you said the guy in the bright blue, I'm like, oh god, it's that footballer that John talked about in the Lizard Man episode.
No, it's not Turquoise Barry. Let's ignore that.
Oh.
Yes, Richard Allen Pester's superhero name is Captain Sticky. He doesn't fight with his hands or his feet, let me tell you. So
John's put the car in Discord, by the way.
I
Not
assume
the
that's
actual one, but
There's so many monsters. Literally every monster
gun.
since like the fucking 60s to now have been called the Continentals, and that's not. I hope that's right. Anyway,
it's essentially one of those, but the roof has been removed, so it's open top.
I know what car reference I want to make. Hold on.
It also is remarkably comparable to the Batmobile, the early model.
yeah, with the roof of it would look a bit like that. Yeah.
So, since retiring in his early 20s, Richard spent time molding himself into Captain Sticky. Does
Had the
anybody
mental breakdown.
want to have a guess what Captain Sticky's theme is?
Being
Pritt stick.
glue,
No?
PVA.
Fiberglass isn't particularly sticky, so it sure as shit ain't that.
Like cling film. Is it cling film?
I just don't know what the hell he could. I'm just thinking of things he could shout out when he hops out of his car. I'm just like, it's a cross between tactile and don't get me on the carpet, and I don't know what to do. It's just like.
Also, Matt, when you said the car didn't have any roof, that's instantly what I thought of.
That is also a pretty good equivalency. So, for all you dirty-minded individuals out there,
You a do. I don't know.
for all you dirty-minded individuals, Captain Sticky
Is a
was
chronic
actually
wanker.
no. He is a peanut butter and jelly themed vigilante dedicated to the prevention of predatory consumer practices, hubcap theft, and graffiti.
Predatory consumer.
Only those three things.
He's an anti-capitalist. After all the money he fucking made.
He's an anti-capitalist vigilante.
No, but to be serious though, if you walk up to children and said, "Children don't believe in capitalism," it turned me into this. I'm just like, yeah, that would work. Christ.
So, weighing in at £350, which is about 159 kilograms
That's
for people
heavy,
using
bastard.
normal weights. So he's a big guy. Richard was a big and charismatic man, but he... Oh, what the fuck have I written there? Oh, I've written the word fight wrong. He did not cite... What?
No, I just like that. He was
Alright, not to the
big.
point where I
He
make...
was a big man. Fight. I was like, what's that going to come out? I was wondering when that was going to come up.
He's a big...
Stage directions.
big, very charismatic man. But as I said, he does not fight with hand-to-hand combat or any weapons that you would spring to mind normally with heroes. Would anyone like to guess what his weapons are? This is why I actually
Pritt stick.
not
Like a squirty peanut butter and jam.
Yes, you bang on, Tom. So Captain Sticky,
So he's condiment king.
he's the condiment king. So,
Good.
You just made him turn in his grave, but oh, that's so much better.
He's classic the Flash villain, condiment king.
I was gonna say, I'm sure the Condiment King's legit. I can't remember what he's from though.
so that is one of his those are his, we'll say, his physical weaponry. Does anyone want to guess at what his mind weaponry makes him like? His psychic.
What?
He's also
Mental
Magneto.
Has he got the power to gaslight small children? I don't know what the fuck he's
Isn't
doing.
just his whole costume psychological warfare?
It seems to be.
Psychological warfare is close enough. So Captain Sticky was a master media manipulator, and he is thought to have been the first person to ever weaponize the attention and economy that is so prevalent on today's social media.
Oh no,
So-
Right.
Here's what he would do.
he's
At least,
Fox
like-
News.
Did you blame that bridge on the Mothman?
No.
No.
So, in the early days, especially, but he did this like rarely, and it became his big thing of what he would do. So, he would find areas of consumer maltreatment, specifically in his early days, like car mechanics and auto companies that were ripping people off. He would go and get some media crew together. I don't know how. I think people they obviously, once he started being Captain Sticky, he got attention, so he got the media to come with him, presumably through his charisma. And by the way, the media loved him. And then he would launch a surprise raid on the business in question.
You see, we just have BBC Watchdog.
Yeah.
This seems
Yeah.
much more interesting.
We have Louis
We don't have
Theroux
that.
these days, so
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, he couldn't
Reader
do
dealers.
he couldn't do anything hostile for the most part. He did bring.
If someone had a peanut allergy.
Yeah. He did bring.
oh, is that
unwanted-
how this ends?
No,
Manslaughter by peanut allergies.
It's Mr. Sticky, right?
It's Captain Sticky.
Captain Sticky, my bad. I forgot the rank. Did Captain Sticky exercise his right to
He
carry?
got a demotion.
He was certainly carrying something.
Right.
He did draw unwanted attention to these businesses, who soon fell in line with all the negative consumer and media attentions. Oh no, they found us out. You know, it's like the early days of the loot box debacle, only with hubcap theft. So, the police were not so happy with Captain Sticky, mainly because, you know, he was raiding people, but he never did anything illegal that I could find. Like, he was never called up on like charges of trespassing, but he was doing intimidation, I think. But he was never
Captain, we
charged.
need to deal with this guy. He's like a tasty Viking. We don't know what the fuck.
He was never charged. Like, so he would obviously intrude on people's privacy, raid businesses, but also he would turn up at every crime scene he could and bring the media with him. So he was
Oh,
making it so hard for the police to do their
I
job.
would have shot him.
He's amazing he didn't get shot, given this is America.
So he's an overzealous news anchor that wanted to be like, that needed a gimmick.
Is he?
Do we have a picture of Captain Sticky?
I will get you a picture of Captain Sticky, yes.
Thank you.
That is a sentence I've said now.
Is that what you tell the girls on Twitter?
Oh, I've got 2 great pictures for
I
you.
broke Corby.
No, I've not been broken yet. I might when I
Alright.
see this fucking
So
picture,
this
though.
is a normal picture. This is him with some guy.
Which one
named-
is he?
He's the guy in the costume, John.
I can't tell,
It
honestly.
does. In that photo at first glance, it just does look like a normal T-shirt. Maybe
Is
a
that
jacket.
Gabe Newell on the
Black
left?
and white.
That is Captain Sticky. What's up?
This?
Then there's this one.
I swear he's the bad guy in Toy Story.
Oh my god!
Oh my God.
On.
Christ.
God. So that is Captain Sticky.
Thank you.
Looks a bit
I'm
like
good now.
Oh no.
I still think he looks like Gabe Newell.
a bearded Gabe Newell. Yeah. Oh,
He does have a
so
beard now.
technically, as I said, he wasn't doing anything illegal, as he wasn't arrested. I don't know if he ever got charged. Honestly, though, I think they were most annoyed by the incredible mess he left behind.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Mess, I hear you say?
Mess that we already know what it is because
Is
he's
that his
peanut
ta-
butter and
is
jelly.
that his tagline?
I don't know.
Mess, I hear you say. Oh, God, not again.
It's his eye, Captain Sticky.
Oh no.
If all he was doing was non-violent imitation, how could he leave a mess? So, as Tom said, or as he guessed, he did come packing with some squirty weaponry. So,
Let's get that sound clip. Ah!
If we ever need to redo the intro, we know what clip we're using.
like all superheroes and vigilantes, Captain Sticky had his very own set of gadgets that were in line with his theme. His main ones were installed in his custom Lincoln Continental, dubbed the Sticky Mobile, which I felt like it could have got a better name than the Sticky Mobile.
Well,
the cr-
back
that's
the
a crime
fuck
scene.
up. Back the fuck up. He had these installed into. I thought he just like had squirty bottle things that he fired around.
I am gonna get you a picture of the Sticky Mobile.
Thank you. Did this
So I
man
didn't-
have a
I didn't
wife?
get it
Did he
quite
have a
right, but
family?
It's not. It
No,
doesn't
but
have
he
a
had
true
money,
picture,
John.
But as you can see, it's got like little lumps and stuff on the top, and it's got tanks installed in the back.
God, are those 4 like? Oh Christ!
So the Sticky Mobile was decked out with, first of all, protective bubble wrap, because that'll stop a car.
Yeah.
To be fair, back in the day when you couldn't go more than 30 miles an hour.
True.
And also,
Sometimes
probably-
it's just nice to have bubble wrap around.
And it's like, well, it's at least I avoid scratches. I might not avoid a bumper to the face, but I
I
avoid
like to think
scratches.
that he was popping it as he went, just so he didn't get angry.
Why is he such a rage-filled character to you? He seems like the most laid-back man in the world, just because he's doing this. He's getting out his anger.
More importantly, however, there was a set of pressurized cannons / hoses
There we
that
go.
fired 2 very specific condiments: peanut butter and jelly / jam.
Oh, that's gonna be hard to fire those 2. I mean, those are actually quite. Those are quite viscous
gonna say-
substances.
I was thinking about that. How would liquidate?
Peanut butter is thick, especially if you
Yeah.
bought the chunky brand that day.
Yeah. It won't be proper jam because it's America, but still.
But he would shoot these out of, I will reiterate, pressurized cannons / hoses at the businesses in question or the vandals in question.
That feels like.
I couldn't find an example of when he'd fired them.
I'm gonna say,
He must have.
to be fair, can I just say, like him firing them at like someone doing vandalism, he's just fucking contributing.
Yeah, but his is washable in the rain, at least, I guess. But still.
Oh,
His is in the name of justice, ergo hitherto, therefore it's
I feel
fine.
like if you get a clot in, say, the peanut butter like hose or something like that, and if it just fires out, that you're killing a man. You basically invented an air rifle, but it's more delicious. I don't know.
it's great up until the point where a glob of peanut butter hits you in the face and kills you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or, since the fact that it's pressurized, it just bungs up and fucking explodes in the car.
I'm amazed that it never exploded. On top of this, though, so he didn't have any handheld. That's a lie. He didn't have any a peanut butter jelly rifle per se, but what he did have was peanut butter grenades.
Ah.
That's just called
These grenades.
That's
are made of
just
peanut
that's just a
butter.
jar of peanut butter that you throw and it shatters. Well, I don't know what your problem is.
They were peanut butter, Alka-Seltzer, and vinegar. So presumably,
that will
he's
go
got a
over.
container with Alka-Seltzer, and he's put vinegar in it, and he shakes the fuck
You
out
just
and
shake
then
it, you lob it, and then when it lands, it all eventually just go and
I
fucking
don't know
hell.
why, but when I was writing this and researching it, I was imagining the World War One stick grenades.
What?
Just
Why?
with a peanut butter
You pull
jar
the,
on the
you
end.
pull the pin out and the vinegar drips down into the thing and you throw it.
Fuck me.
You know what? It works. It works.
It works. Oh. Okay, I tell a lie, he did have peanut butter guns.
Knew it.
He also even allegedly had a peanut butter bazooka.
I think you're gonna say wife.
Peanut butter wife. He had a peanut butter family.
And this is my peanut butter wife.
He was married to an actual person. But that was a terrible way to phrase that.
In the same way that John's an actual person at the start of this podcast.
Exactly.
Johnny, you made a peanut butter.
No problem. Damn delicious.
So yes, Captain Sticky had access to a peanut butter bazooka. Needless to say, he'd put his inventive skills to good use. So, what exactly did Cappy Sticky?
Oh, Cappy Sticky!
Oh,
He You best not be hanging around these corners, laddies. Oh, Cappy Sticky haunts these police. What the fuck does that mean?
The ghost of Cappy Sticky haunts the shores.
Is it you? No. You got left in your chest? No. Just shambles off to an obviously sticky car.
With just peanut butter footprints left behind.
So, besides stopping rogue traders, did Captain Sticky do anything impressive? Well, over the years, he was responsible for the following greatest hits in his career. He stopped youths, as I said, youths from stealing hubcaps and making graffiti. He confronted shoplifters and delinquents and just youths in general. He didn't like the youth. This is something I got from this.
Absolutely hate
Ah,
eyes
well-
children.
well, he
And this is
didn't
the
have
only way I can get
childhood.
vengeance.
He missed out on his first 20 years, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. He started a variety of awareness campaigns that led to many state-based healthcare regulation improvements. So he started investigating care homes for malpractice. He wasn't just confused by the concept of care homes.
He didn't just have some faulty directions, like, this doesn't look like a mechanic's.
I mean, there's wheels on that chair. I
How
wouldn't know if
annoyed-
they work.
How annoying.
Although these joints do need oiling.
I'd love to know the complex emotions combined of like annoyance, relief, and just like anger that will happen. Where if for instance you're worried about your mother in a care home, you ask the police to show that they not do anything. Then fucking Captain Sticky finds out there's been some nasty goings on there. It's like, great. I'm glad she's okay, but Jesus, why?
People loved him. They really loved him.
doubt
They
it.
really got behind him. Yeah, he investigated activities in nursing homes, specifically in Orange County, revealing a massive syndicate of health insurance fraud. So he just uncovered this huge health insurance scam. He was a general advocate for consumer rights as, get this, Commander-in-Chief of the World Organization Against Evil. No other info on its other members.
Well, good to know there is one.
It just made me think of the Legion of Doom. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom.
Meanwhile, in Legion of Doom.
So, all very impressive, yes. But perhaps my favourite thing he did. He testified before the Federal Trade Commission in 1978 and Congress in 1979, both times in costume, and I really hope he was addressed as Captain Sticky.
What was he there for?
I think it was to do
War
with the health insurance stuff.
Fucking war crimes.
Oh, God. He's killed a man with his bazooka.
Damn Sticky, you've killed one too many men with this peanut butter thing
technically-
you've got going on.
The problem is, the peanut butter is actually flammable, so it counts as a flame rejection device and goes against the Geneva Convention. Oh.
Whenever Captain Sticky was interviewed as well, just on the side, he would also often go out of his way on tangents to tell kids to behave. As again, going back to that youth angle, doesn't like
How
bad youths.
how old
God, I
was he
sound
at the
old,
point? How old was he at the point he started this Captain Sticky
So,
bollocks?
he was 20 in the 60s. He would have been in his 30s.
Sounds about right.
He was also a regular at San Diego Comic Con in the 70s and 80s.
Nice.
As I said, a lot of fans
Yeah.
and a lot of attention, to the point where none other than Marvel Comics asked if he wanted his own comic. A writer even shadowed him to learn his methods. Now this, son, is how you fire a bazooka. It's so weird.
Can't wait for the Captain Sticky movie.
Well, sadly, this fell through
I
because
knew something
Marvel-
was missing from Infinity War.
This fell through because Marvel told Captain Sticky that he'd have to front all the costs, so he just went, no.
Oh, does he not have enough fiberglass money left?
He's anti-capitalist, Tom, remember? He won't pay the man.
Despite, making a
But he
capitalist
will get you
fortune.
a deal.
Shh. Shush, Tom. Oh,
In this man at all. I find it very entertaining and lovely, but it's just fucking yeah.
in general, whenever Captain Sticky was out and about, trying to do good in the world, he'd always do what he could. He was even on hand a lot of the time to help stranded people just on the motorway. He'd just pick you up in his sticky mobile. I hate that sentence.
If I was a hitchhiker and I got in that car, I don't think I'd expect to leave.
Oh,
I would rather get in with a hitchhiker that looks like a serial killer, methinks.
I have a quote that pretty much sums up Captain Sticky. It's Captain Sticky summing up himself.
That sounds about right.
A do-gooder is pure at heart, but naive to the power politics. I'm sophisticated in tactics which intimidate bureaucrats, which I feel are the festering source of evil in our society.
Before we go on, you know when you read that sentence, you know what my brain instantly thought of? For some reason, I thought of Captain Quark from Ratchet and Clank.
Yes. It is so unbelievably quirky.
Ignore that.
Oh, it's not finished. If I were to wear a pinstripe suit while trying to aid the oppressed, I would have no efficiency. Thus, my characterization. When I stage a surprise raid in my costume, you can be sure I'm not ignored. I mean, I can't fault him. It's not wrong.
Still in the Captain Quark voice, but yep, I agree.
It makes me think of what I'd love to do is just go through like Man of Steel and just replace only seeing the Superman it with Captain Sticky. Like, what does that S mean? It means hope on my planet. Like, fucking shit is all I can think of in my head. Oh god.
Like all superheroes, Captain Sticky eventually had his downfall.
Oh god.
Does anybody want to take a guess at what he got involved in?
Thanos.
Was there a villain who turned up called Sergeant Slippery?
Psychic Brandon Nutella.
He did not, no.
Oh.
So, Richard hung up his cape in the late 80s to move on to things such as eco-friendly gardening products, which he actually managed to get off the ground as a career. He also invested heavily in a chain of Nevada-based brothels.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
And in 1985, appeared in his first porno as himself on the Sex O'Clock News.
But you had money, you didn't have to do that. Oh, okay.
Went into porn.
Of course he did.
And the great thing is, he didn't even have to change his name.
No, did he put in costume?
Yes, he did. He appeared
Yeah.
as himself.
Great. Okay.
Now remember, kids, behave!
As I said, if you live long enough as a hero, you inevitably become a villain. Or at least, as I say, you fall from grace. In 1986,
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a porn star.
Well, that's a famous quote, right?
I mean, to be fair, like him, the Red Power Ranger, I mean...
It's a list of 2, and that's enough.
Oh,
In 1986, Richard was arrested in his home for allowing a film crew to film a porno in his home studio. He had a studio in his home.
Isn't it?
He had
Isn't
a
it
big
like?
three-story
Isn't it like illegal to film porn in America unless you're in California?
I will tell you why it's illegal.
What?
So, police had heard about some, and I quote, nice hardcore porn being filmed.
well, as long as it was
What
nice.
what a phone call to the police station that'd
As a
be.
police officer, it's part of my oath to only go after the quality stuff.
911, what's your emergency? Yeah, there's some hardcore quality porn going on next door, and that shit's illegal. So
I'm Italian.
This was being filmed by none other than, I hesitate to use the word renowned, infamous porn star Ron Jeremy.
Oh, they got involved.
So the guy who looks like the Mario of porn.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So the reason the police found out is because they heard that Ron Jeremy was going to be in California, and they just assumed that he was going to be filming that. And I don't know where the quote came from, but it was a quote. So I can only assume that they followed him.
Right.
So police raided Richard's 3-story home and arrested him while he was in the shower on the charges of aiding and abetting a crime, whilst Ron got charged with pimping. Now, pimping is illegal in California.
Oh, right. No, because I guess they're cracking down on porn, so they don't like the idea of porn.
Yep.
But there isn't actually anything illegal going on.
But because there was payment involved or whatever, it was classed as pimping.
It was attempted porn.
He was done in
fucking
on
shower.
attempted porn.
Was Ron Jeremy anywhere near him?
Now, being sorry, John, what did you say?
Was Ron Jeremy even anywhere near him?
Ron Jeremy was in the studio.
Oh,
in the
okay.
porn.
Right, fair enough. So they did get the right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Which this still blows my mind, because I will point out, as I said earlier when we were talking about the peanut butter person, Richard was married. He was a married man.
Yeah.
was his wife in the porn, or
I don't know. I couldn't find out, and I didn't search because I didn't want to.
Matt, does this turn into a Brazzers origin story at some point, or?
Sadly not.
What about somewhere to hell?
Oh, now as a man of impeccable
Porn
integrity, impeccable taste and impeccable integrity, Richard was let off by testifying against Ron and was not. So he threw Ron under the bus and just, I had no idea they were filming the hanky panky in my room.
What's he still in
Don't
costume
use
in
that
court?
phrase. This wasn't the end of his porn career, by the way.
Oh, good.
He also appeared in the lesbian flick Caged Fury in 1990 as wrestler Tons O Fun.
I'll tell you what, actually, the Cage Fury does sound like an actual movie from the 80s.
It does.
It sounds like it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme.
As the wrestling lesbian number 1.
Fun's so fun, yeah.
I have to say, Tons of Fun is a much better name than Captain Sticky.
Is it? Oh,
Fuck's sake.
so Richard's last great endeavour occurred in Thailand, of all places.
Oh, no. This is
Where
never
he's-
good. Nothing
said-
good ever happens in Thailand.
He set up a wild tour business that, quote, was a real man's wild midlife crisis tour of Thailand, showing drinking, debauchery, and fun stuff.
To be fair, nothing speaks to a midlife crisis like Captain Sticky.
Yeah,
And a fun evening in Thailand.
I can't help but feel he had his midlife crisis when he retired in his 20s.
I mean, to be fair, this is a fine ode to a man who lived life to the fullest. I can't say he didn't.
Oh yeah, no, he did.
Christ.
Needless to say, the Thai government quickly shut him down.
Why him and not Gary Goose? Doesn't matter.
Sadly, Richard passed away in 2003 from complications emerging from an emergency bypass. This was while he was on holiday in Bangkok at the age of 57 on December 12th, 2003, if we want to be specific. I got a quote from his wife. He was a huge man with a huge heart.
I have never met this man before.
It was a huge man with a huge porn career. And I was proud to be part of it.
God damn it! I would have done it again.
He's a huge man with a huge man with a huge heart, whose dream was to alter the course of history in a meaningful way. Richard, I think, certainly made a difference and has inspired more than few real-life superheroes, including people such as Master Legend and possibly my favourite, the Norwich Ninja.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Who is famous for being bitten by a fox.
No, he did some stuff, but yes, there was the fox incident.
Oh, I'm just on the real life superhero list now. There was Angle Grinder Man, who was a self-described wheel clamp superhero in the UK.
I feel like he could have just called himself Angle Grinder, and that would have worked.
Yeah.
But he's the angle grinder man, and he's got an angle grinder plan. That's the thing, you got to go with it.
He's a UK specific. There was another one called SOS, who gate crashed the premiere for the Kick-Ass in 2010.
Wait, who's that?
There's Night Warrior, who wears the costume and attempts to break up fights in Salford, which I never saw him when I was there. There's the Statesman,
He probably
who
got
patrols
shot.
the streets of Birmingham in a Union Jack shirt and dark red trousers.
Isn't that just a spiffing Brit?
He reports his effectiveness is mixed.
What's that last one?
The Statesman in Birmingham. He walks around in a Union Jack shirt and dark trousers and reports that his effectiveness is mixed.
Now, these days, he stays at home and exploits video games on YouTube.
In 2011, there was the Shadow, who patrols Yeovil.
I don't know.
The Shadow of Yeovil legit sounds like a Dark Souls / Bloodborne boss.
That's the really crap. That's the crap like home version of Cthulhu. Mum, can we have Cthulhu? No, we've got Cthulhu at home. It's the shadow of.
It's not the Shadow of Rinsmouth, it's the Shadow of Yeovil.
Yeah.
Of course, there's also the Bromley Batman, who has been seen by several witnesses as saving people from knife-wielding gangs in London. He's also had activities reported as far as Cornwall. Those are just some of the real-life superheroes. And
I feel like we need that to be a segment, but
I will come back to real life, or John can go touch on real life.
What did you do, Matt, to go down this rabbit hole?
So
how did you get here?
What porn did you watch, Matt?
Way back when we decided to start a podcast on a whim, as you do.
Mm-hmm.
I started listing out stuff that I'd heard about was remotely interesting. Captain Sticky has been at the top of the list for the entire time we've been doing the podcast, and I just decided I wanted to do something quick or that would require less research.
Right.
It was helpful because there wasn't a lot on Captain Sticky despite his prominence. He doesn't have a website or anything. There's not even a really in-depth Wikipedia article on him.
I mean, to be fair, he retired before.
The second photo you put of him does look like some sort of very weird high priest.
Yeah, the way he's got his hands together.
He looks like he's deep in thought. He's about to summon a fireball when he pulls his hands
He looks
apart.
like a power rabbi. Huh.
He does look like somebody's cosplaying as a D&D wizard or villain.
I was going to say, who's he stood with in the first picture? Do we know? Or?
No idea.
It's not.
It looks
Stanley,
like a generic Scouser. I'm not going to
think
lie.
it was a Stanley look-alike.
I think it might be the most 80s man.
He's definitely on cocaine. Look how skinny the bloke is.
That's what I said. He looks like generic Scouser number 12.
I have no idea who it is because I just pulled it off Google.
It is Stanley.
It's actually Stan Lee. There you go. It must have been when he visited
This
Marvel
is.
Comics.
I've just got a picture of Stanley from Stanley's Wikipedia page, and I think it's the exact same photo but cropped.
There you go.
That's great.
Damn. Sorry, Stanley. You look like a generic Scouser.
Oh my god.
You said that. Oh god, that is actually the same. That's his cape.
Yeah. That is Stan Lee.
Is it me or is his mustache on crooked?
Yes.
It's all crooked. He looks like he's gurning hard.
It's like, yeah.
That's a prominent chin bulge.
Before or after? That must have been before the porn. Anyway,
Hey, it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Everybody was on coke then.
Yes. Anyway.
John, is everyone on coke for your story?
No, well, that probably would make more. It would make it more entertaining. Anyway. Right, I'm going to be talking about. Well, technically, it's also an inventor of a kind. We hope.
Oh, nice.
We hope.
We linked it somehow.
I don't know how. This is an entirely British inventor. You may have heard the name before. He's
Is it
known
Wallace?
for some things. No.
Does he have a coke?
Did he go
Hope he
to the
doesn't have a dog.
moon?
Jesus Christ. No. One would hope, but Jesus
Bloke
Christ.
who built like a nuclear bomb in his shed, is it?
No, he didn't go quite that far. Although it actually would have been quite helpful if he did. No, what? I'm talking today about a man called Harry Grindle Matthews.
The
Which is a
name
good
is
name.
familiar.
Yeah,
I
he
think I'm
is.
thinking of the right person.
Yeah, he was.
No, not him.
No. He was born in 1880 in Gloucestershire in England, and he eventually studied at a merchant venture school in Bristol, and he became an electronic engineer. And he was actually in the Second Boer War for a while, and he was wounded
nice.
twice, so he obviously saw some action.
Oh, nice. He was in the Boer War. The Boer War was horrible, Matt. Yes.
Nice. Yes,
Nice.
which is exactly what that reenactment put in the fucking.
This was around the same time as, or just after Tesla and Edison, right?
It would have been after that, yeah, a little bit after that,
Tesla
around
and
that time.
Edison were like
Yeah,
80s,
because
60s,
Not-
70s.
not-
he officially started seeing an event in nonsense 1911.
Right, okay.
So, you know, war. Guess what he invented for?
Oh no! Well, he's got a bit of a conflicted past because it's just like,
Does
well,
he?
we'll see what your opinion of him is at the end of this.
If
I did-
you have a rise to
Fantastic, magnanimous inventor or complete and utter charlatan. We'll see.
To be fair, John, I think I just did a quick Google. It is the guy I thought it was.
All right.
So this is a hell of a story.
Goody.
Yeah,
So,
but thank
guys,
you.
let's talk about gas.
No, right, no. Basically, in 1911, he claimed that he invented this thing called an aerophone device called a radio telephone, which would transmit messages between a ground station and an aeroplane for about distance of about 2 miles. This, yeah, that's fucking essentially something like that. He called it a radio telephone because he's an inventor. He's allowed to invent. It's 1911. Piss off. Anyway,
No.
And naturally these experiments attracted quite a lot of government and military attention because they thought, oh, it'd be really helpful to be able to communicate with an aeroplane some way. And following that, on the 4th of July 1912, he actually visited Buckingham Palace and basically give it a shot. But then the British Admiralty requested a demonstration of the aerophone. And Harry Grindle Matthews, which is, I love that middle name, Grindle. Anyway, I'll call Matthews on. Matthews basically said, okay, we are happily give you a demonstration of this, but no experts are allowed to be at the scene of the demonstration. So this is already a bit of an interesting start.
You don't want any of those fancy know-how do-gooder invention around.
The defenders of him would say that he obviously didn't want people to know how his stuff worked, which is I could see to a certain extent with the inventors for the first time.
He said experts.
No, and he started setting up but just was being very secret about it. And then 4 of the observers obviously got a bit fidgety about the whole thing and wanted to know exactly how it worked. And they did actually start, and this would annoy any inventor, they started basically trying to take it apart to see how it would work. And he started trying to take notes before the demonstration began. And he just went, nope, observation's done. Go away, clear off, go away, and just basically shoot everyone out. And yes. And that was his, and he, the newspapers at the time rushed to Matthew's defense, and they said, oh, how dare you be this unkind to this inventor. And they're like, the War Office said, okay, we didn't tamper with the machine. It obviously just didn't work. He didn't want to demonstrate it. And
Oh wait, so when they started taking notes, rather than not demonstrate, just went, no, we're done.
yeah, he didn't demonstrate at all. He just said, no, we're not doing it. No, clear off. That was it, done. And they just said, oh, it obviously didn't work. But the government, after a lot of newspaper pressure, because the newspapers always took his side in these affairs, it carries on. And they basically...
He was adept at manipulating the media.
I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he came here, but he did. And the government later stated that the affair was just a misunderstanding. He, as far as I'm aware, I don't think he demonstrated the radio phone ever again. And anyway, and he carried on doing a lot of jobs inventing. In 1914, after the outbreak of the First World War, the British government announced to order £25,000 to anyone who created a weapon that would work in Zeppelins or remotely controlled unmanned vehicles.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was going to say Zeppelins.
I almost said remotely unmanned control vehicles. I'll be honest.
Forgot we still use Zeppelins in 1940.
It was more the Germans than us.
But yeah, it was. Wait a second. It was
You could Helsinger Bridge to Corby with the fucking secret Zeppelin weapons.
Stop. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yes.
Zeppelins.
Like, if I was to do this, I'm trying to find exactly how much that would be in today's money. Oh, it doesn't work.
What,
it's
50,000?
Was a pound worth in 1914. A pound in 1914 was. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, but it was it was a hell of a lot of money for the time. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, and naturally, Matthews wanted to throw his hat into the arena for this, and he announced that he claimed that he created a remote control system that used selenium cells that would basically be able to stop these kind of vehicles from working. He did demonstrate. He successfully demonstrated with a remotely controlled boat at Richmond Park's Penn Pond to representatives of the Admiralty. And
I think was the
we don't know. I don't know. Not just a regular sized boat. I think. Hey,
25,000 was it in 1914?
yes, £25,000 in 1914.
£2,903,682 and 4 pence.
So I was off by a bit.
Yes.
That's
Anyway.
4 pence.
Fuck
Next
no.
Now this probably spurred them on a bit because they obviously hadn't. Well, they thought, well, it actually works. That's fine. They did actually give him his £25,000, but the Admiralty never used the invention.
So was it essentially just a selenium-filled cylinder that you waved at a Zeppelin?
It would stop remote control boats from working, I think, is the idea.
So it was like it basically intercepted remote control.
I think that's the idea, yeah. I really horrendously doubt they would ever work.
Because in my mind, he stuck a bit of selenium on a stick and is waving it at them.
Selenium cells as in like cell the same way as a battery functions.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I believe so.
I'm assuming. I
don't know how they
selenium?
block.
Do
Probably
we use
fine.
selenium in batteries anymore? I thought they were lithium-ion batteries. now.
They are these days. Most batteries.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyway. So yeah, he did all that nonsense. And he got paid for it, but they didn't use it. So he kept on working. Now, his next actual public appearance was in 1921, where he claimed to invent the world's first talking picture, which is a farewell interview of Ernest Shackleton, which was recorded on 6th September 1921. It was just before Shackleton's last expedition, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with this is it technically wasn't the world's first talking picture because they'd had them around since about the year 1901, I think.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Even living in the past. You said it was his next public appearance. I'm imagining he's appeared in public 3 times. All of these on these occasions.
Yeah, no,
He's been behind locked doors for the rest of it.
Yeah, people he's not
Tinkering
really
away.
a household name at this point, but he is around. It did say, as I said, other talking picture processes had been developed before that by Photo Kinema and Phono Film, all these big companies.
Yeah.
Although he claimed his process was the first sound on film process where it all recorded onto one one source film. You don't have to record the sound and video separately, apparently. And so that's good for him. He did that. That worked.
Shackleton survived his exposition, right?
Yeah.
Expedition. He survived his exposition.
Yeah, I believe he did. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
no, he did. I'm thinking of the Terror and whatnot, who went north instead.
Oh, no, yeah, I know. But anyway, so that happened, and people were like, it wasn't a commercial success, the film. I assume because Shackleton came back, otherwise it would have been quite interesting. But anyway,
Yeah.
but
Got 3 on IMDb. Next film.
no, he now we get on to probably the biggest controversy of Matthew's life.
I know, I've had many.
It is his invention of a supposed death ray.
Oh,
Oh.
yes. Please tell me he used the Archimedes death ray as his basis.
No, what he claimed he claimed that he had invented in 1923. He claimed that he invented a particular electric ray that put magnetos out of action. Now,
Magneto.
I would love
Say
that.
Magneto.
magnetos is in the actual thing, not the bloody character. No, we've got enough of that.
Are they,
Now, these,
are they magnetic Cheerios?
No, like and they're called also known ignition magnetos, stuff like that. They're stuff that they provide current for stuff like spark ignition engines, stuff like
Right. Okay.
it's like spark plugs, all that plugs, all that kind of stuff. Stuff it's very useful to keep motors running. So he claimed that he'd be able to, in demonstration, he demonstrated this not to any military or government agency. He just got a bunch of journalists around and said, "Look at this." Because this is what he kept.
You guys want to see
Check
something
out
cool?
this shit.
You can't want to see some shit. No.
Hey kids, want to see my death ray?
In a demonstration to some select journalists, so he picked them out.
I keep thinking you're going to say in some select Germans for some reason.
No,
He's showing the Germans on British soil.
No, but there's a little bit of not quite the Germans, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, good.
No, but and anyway, in demonstrating to some select journalists, he stopped a motorcycle engine from a distance. Doesn't know exactly what distance he stopped from, but he did. Apparently, he did manage to stop it.
Do you see that bike on the hill 2 miles away? I've stopped that.
I can only assume it was like a couple of 100 meters down the road. It's just like, no, just went boom, like, just like, right.
Doesn't specify if there's a person on the bike.
No, it was a motorcycle engine. It doesn't say anyone was on it. I assume he didn't want to put it on front because it's a death ray and they'll die. Anyway, but what he also claimed this same ray would have done with enough power that he could shoot down airplanes, literally make planes burn in the sky, explode gunpowder from a distance, stop ships, and be able to incapacitate infantry and just people from the distance of 4 miles.
Fucking hell! How powerful's the ray?
I don't fucking. He just said with enough power it'll do this.
With
This is
enough
currently the
power, I
thing that-
could drain the sea, but
This current demonstration is literally he's pointed the bike at a motorcycle engine and the engine is turned off. That's all we know.
I mean,
so far.
I am imagining in my head like the person riding the bike just happened to also park at that time.
Yeah.
It's like, see, stop the engine.
it wasn't a pre-arranged thing. He was just targeting vehicles on a road.
Yep. Yeah, it was interesting because the same like 1924, so February 1924. So next year, the War Office contacted him to request a demonstration of said ray.
Of course.
Matthews did not even reply to them, but spoke to journalists and demonstrated the ray to a Star reporter by igniting gunpowder from a distance.
Oh, I mean, you could probably do that with a magnifying glass.
That's
Yes.
literally how you do it.
He still refused to say how the ray worked, but insisted that it did.
I'm assuming we have no pictures.
No, that's the thing. There is like this apparently is a picture of it in 1925. Like apparently we don't.
My God!
Yeah.
Oh.
That's just
Is that just a searchlight on an upside-down washing basket?
Now he like at this point the British government was saying that's all very well and good, but we're not giving you any money to actually get a demonstration to us and not this reporter from the Star. And he said, and his response was that he said, "That's okay. I've got an offer from France to buy it." and now the air ministry at this point was very wary because, well, they've had experience with bad experiences with would-be inventors before, and also I assume that Matthews had somewhat of a reputation with the government at this point.
You said they had bad rep with ones before. Yeah, they paid him the first time. That was their mistake.
I thought they were just the British government had bad experiences with the French. yes, they have.
Yes, that's fair enough. But yeah, so he was invited back to London. These very polite invitations, I suppose, at this point, to demonstrate his array on 26th of April to the armed forces. And Matthew's laboratory, they saw how his ray switched on a light bulb and cut off a motor. Yes. So he failed to convince the officials, who suspected trickery or confidence game. I don't know why. And the British Army said, okay, can we get a bit more further demonstration? No. It's basically the response.
What if we get you a bigger battery?
Yeah.
Is anyone else thinking of the Mitchell and Webb Dr. Death sketch?
It is very reminiscent of that to me, anyway. But it was. It's one of these. And later the same on basically the same point next month, 27th of May, 1924, the High Court in London granted an injunction to Matthew's investors that forbade him from selling the rights to their death ray because they were somewhat concerned they wouldn't get their money back, the thing wouldn't work. People have put money into this project that is not his. Yeah. And Major Wimperis, which is it's a hell of a name. Wimperis is it?
Sounded like and there was a major and then an event. I didn't realise initially that was the name.
W-I-M-P-E-R-I-S.
There was Major Wimperis.
Major Wimperis.
He arrived at Matthews' laboratory to negotiate a new deal. The problem was Matthews had already set off to fly to Paris. His investors, his backers appeared on the scene as well, and then rushed to Croydon Airport to stop him. But he was already on the plane. He was well on his way to France at this point. Oh. So he's basically thrown a tantrum, said, "No, you can't see my death ray. Look at it, turn off its light bulb. Look at it. Oh, you don't like this? I'm going to France." And fucked off everyone's
Pay no attention to that man in the corner who's flicking that switch. I don't know what that switch does, but
I mean, at least Major
Nosferatu.
At least Major Wimpery didn't get hit by the death ray when he walked in.
No, but that was the funny thing.
A mild tan.
Oh, there's a bit about that later. But not Wimpery anyway.
They don't try death ray, man.
No. Public theory. Well, basically, there was interest of various other inventors. Because basically, Matthews got a lot of publicity in the newspaper because of this death ray. And the problem was, every would-be inventor in England just went, "Oh, I've got a death ray. You want to see my death?" And it started a flood of people just bothering the Home Office. We don't want your sodding death ray. But yeah. So they all turned up to demonstrate their own death rays to War Office. None of them were convincing, obviously. And on the next day, 20th of May, Commander Kenworthy asked in the House of Commons what the government intended to do to stop Matthews from sending the ray to a foreign power, because they're still at this point acting on the idea that, okay, 99% sure it doesn't work. What if it do? What if it do?
Mr. Bond, we have a mission for you. You need to go to Paris and stop Matthews from selling his death ray to those damn baguette-eating frogs.
Look how angry Q is against the French. That's not right.
Watch out, Bond. The ray is highly dangerous and is liable to give you a tan if you're in close proximity.
Anyway,
James Bond, no time to death ray.
In the same House of Commons meeting, the Undersecretary for Air, which I didn't realise was an actual position, answered that Matthews was not willing to let them investigate the ray to their satisfaction. And then one government representative also said that one ministry official had stood in front of the ray and had survived. So obviously at some point, someone's been peer pressured, gone, "Go on, stand in front of it." Go on.
Somebody get me the intern. Intern, you. Stand in front of that ray, boy.
Go on while he's not looking. And I assume, he was fine.
Was it just a hazing? It was a government hazing.
Yeah, no, everyone goes through it. Everyone gets put in front of the death ray.
But I'm the first person to have joined since the ray was built. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, it's a tradition.
Sorry, Tom cut out there. Just going, it's a tradition. But yeah, the funny thing is, despite this whole period, newspapers are still well and truly in the camp of Matthews, and they are rooting for him massively.
To be fair, if there was a man,
families hostage and threatened them.
I'm going to say, to be fair, if there was a man with a supposed death ray, I wouldn't want to get on his bad side.
fair. And to be fair, man with death ray makes great headlines.
It does.
Now at this point, the government offered a kind of a compromise deal to Matthews, who is at this point obviously in
They're
Paris.
negotiating on
Yeah.
the off chance that it actually works.
Basically, well, no, this is basically what they required from Matthews, that he would use the ray to be able to stop a petrol motorcycle engine, not electric, a petrol motorcycle engine in the conditions that would satisfy the Air Ministry. And if he pulled it off, he would get £1,000 and further consideration into the death rate. Great. And at some point, I would have thought if you actually had some sort of death ray, you might even consider this being an actual reasonable offer.
Yeah.
Instead, from France, Matthews, he answered that he was not willing to give any proof of any kind, and that he already had 8 separate bids to choose from. So go away.
Just
and
him going like, "Oh, I have 8 bids. You must bid to me if you wish to have it."
yeah, I've got 8 buys running for this death, right? No,
I've got this coyote out the back. He wants to kill a roadrunner with it.
It's just a constant stream of being like, I have a death ray. Oh, can I see it? No.
It's just not over.
It's the fucking at the end of the steamed ham
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
Aurora Borealis.
Can I see it? No. Yeah. Anyway, he'd also claimed in the same message to the government that he claimed that he'd lost sight in his left eye because of said experiments.
Please tell me
it's projecting light. Yeah.
Please tell
Yeah,
me he
probably
turned up to
looked at
future.
it.
If he ever had a future meeting with him, please tell me he turned up with an eye patch.
Yes. Tell me he
No,
does.
he just looks like that for pretty much the rest of the time. He doesn't seem to change his appearance much. Anyway,
He doesn't age. He's
it's
still
an
with us.
immortality- It's an anti-death ray. That's why he doesn't want to show it off. It stands in front of it, lives forever. That's all it does.
That intern's
all
still
I can
alive to this
imagine-
day.
All I can imagine is at this point with him losing sight in his left eye and stopping motorcycle and light bulbs. All I can assume is it's just a really massive torch, and just the person on the bike goes, crap, and just breaks.
Right.
And
First,
stop.
so I will say, when you showed us the image of the death ray, that my first thought was, is that like one of those giant fucking lights they'd use for air raids?
It does look like it's got a telescope attached to the top as well.
It looks awful.
No, Tom, those are the nodulizers that power the
To be
ray.
honest,
It
There's-
does
there's
kind
an
of just
event-
look like a torch with 3 other torches strapped to it.
there is an invention later that looks more than like a death ray than his death ray.
Ooh.
I didn't know he
What does it
invented
do?
stuff afterwards. I only know the Death Ray one.
Yeah.
What does it do, Matthews? It brushes your teeth.
And the laser, ignore
Oh, you got
that.
the death ray. Oh, I see. No, I know. But anyway, and he was. People were even more suspicious of him because he did have a French back at this time called Eugene Royer, which is a hell of a French name. And that caused him further suspicions in Britain, just like, okay, what exactly going on here? Anyway, what happened then was Sir Samuel Instone, who was he's a British shipping and aviation entrepreneur at the time, who at the time did have a airline called Instone Airline. It did actually no, I think it literally just closed.
I don't know if I trust
his air company.
I don't know
had
if I
just-
trust any
it
air
wasn't
company
set in
called
stone.
In Stone.
Yeah.
Our planes are made from the finest bricks.
It's fine British engineering.
Igneous.
Excuse me, stewardess. The concrete is flaking off from my seat. I was on it. Fear not, child. It's like what? Stewardess?
Fear not, children.
The end shall be swift. Yeah? No. Anyway, yeah, so Samuel Instone and his brother Theodore, so Theodore and Samuel Instone, Jesus Christ.
Theodore is a great name.
Yeah, they offered him they offered him a massive salary. I think it was he offered him a massive salary to if he would keep the Rain Britain and demonstrate that it actually worked. And Matthews once again said no. He didn't want to give any proof that it worked because he claimed it would go away. Like if people are offering you massive amounts of money, because I think that was at least equivalent to the 25,000 before.
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
I like to imagine each time they're seeing him, he's a little bit more French in his dress. So, like, first time he's got a baguette in hand, the next time he's got an onion chain around his neck.
You're silly English. No, no, but
Towards the end, he
Anyway.
just starts looking like a mime.
after spending what he after spending basically a couple of days, I think about a month. Yeah, about a month in. A couple of days in bloody in France. He returned
this
to
was only a
London.
couple of days.
Seemingly, because apparently he left on the 27th of May and then came back on the 1st of June. So
Just
I thought this was years.
no, apparently not.
just to clarify, he left for France, but left his death ray in England. Is that
We don't know.
Or did he take it with
I
him?
assume he took it with him. I don't know how.
Tom, if you look at that picture,
That
if
would-
you take the top of the ray off, you can put it in the basket it stood on.
I'm gonna say that would not fit. That does not
No.
fit in hand luggage.
I'm sorry,
It's a
sir.
real nightmare getting that into the overhead
Your luggage
compartment.
weighs too
It was the
much.
20s. It was a different time. Anyway,
I'm afraid our brick and mortar plane can't handle this level of luggage.
no. Okay. Now he returned to London on 1st June 1924. What do you think he did when he touched down?
Sold his death ray?
No, at this point he
Fired
would not
his
sell
death ray.
that shit.
But I feel like that would be a sudden turn of events.
What do you think he did?
He went to Germany.
No.
Attend a demonstration of his death ray and then cancelled it at the last moment.
No, he went to the press again.
Of course.
He gave an interview to the Sunday Express. In said interview, he claimed he had a deal with Eugene Royer, his French backer, and therefore it was very much functional, yes. The press again took his side and went, well, this man clearly has a death ray. I don't know what the problem is here. And
Shut up, Churchill. You would have, if you'd had a death ray, the plane, none of this would have happened.
the only demonstration
Wow.
Matthews was willing to give was he was to make a film, a Pathé film called The Death Ray.
Pathé
Pro-
film.
Yes.
As
to-
in the dangling chicken icon people.
The company responsible for Chicken Run
That.
and other films.
Maybe, yes. Anyway.
My brain went, that's not Aardman animation.
They were Pathé
It was
has been
a
around
joint
since
venture.
they've been around bloody 1896. They've been
Jesus.
yes. Anyway, made a film called The Death Ray to propagate his ideas, to basically show off his ideas about his death ray. Now,
We're about
every
to watch it.
no,
I have it
you
for you
can
here.
find it out there, but it does say. Every government official, everyone said the device in the movie bore no resemblance to the one government officials had originally seen. So it was just a totally different thing in the actual
but you
film.
see, John, he's perfected it.
But the wonderful thing is, this does mean that Harry Grindell Matthews is on IMDb because of this.
I'm gonna, can I see if I can find any
so that's a
screenshots
thing.
from this film?
Yeah, this is Harry Grindell Matthews, Self, The Death Ray, 1924. And he's shown exploding gunpowder from a distance with his death ray. And he says it's not trick photography, it's a death ray. Anyway.
They didn't point out to the guy just next to the gunpowder lying in the grass with a match.
Pay no attention to that guy. That's just my garden gnome.
you just see like a flash. You just see someone on the camera does go, bang! I've no doubt he's capable of setting off gunpowder on his own. He has invented things.
It's not hard. It says a man who's never set gunpowder off.
I know
not
John's
that.
put a picture in there, but oh no wait, apparently that file is too big. Never mind, it won't allow
my
that
God.
one. I
We
did
found a
find
pic-
another picture of can I like click on the
No. If wait a second, because it might be an invention I'm going to talk about.
No,
Put it in
this
afterwards.
is still the death ray. I'm gonna copy
okay.
paste that link to y'all, so you can get a
Okay.
arguably better image of the.
Oh no, it's there.
Yeah, that's
wow.
an image
That's
of
a
what it
better-
supposedly looked like.
It still makes me think it's a water butt. It's a water butt, and he shoved a torch from the bottom.
Shh, death ray. Anyway,
Death ray.
In July 1924, so he's been in the country a month, and he's just already done an interview and he's done shown a new device off that definitely isn't the death ray, but he said was original death ray. Matthews immediately pisses off to the US to mark his invention again.
Oh God!
Now, when he was offered $25,000 to demonstrate his beam to the radio welfare at Madison Square Garden, he refused and claimed that there was no there's no foundation for this at all. There's no reason at all why he said this. He claimed that he was not permitted to demonstrate outside England.
I feel like he's just wandering around until somebody he meets will goes, "Well, yes, I will buy this on the premise."
It
that
feels like he
works."
wants someone to give him money, but for nothing.
Yes,
And it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not to insult the man, but Jesus. Anyway, yes, obviously, the US scientists were not impressed, and one Professor Woods offered to stand in front of the death ray to demonstrate his disbelief.
yes.
And
Those good old Americans, they fear nothing.
Sorry. Anyway, and then Matthews came back to Britain, and judges gathered around like, well, what's happened? He said, I've sold the death ray. Okay. He claimed that the USA bought his ray, but refused to say who had done it and for how much.
Did he lose the ray in travel? And someone asked him where it was, and he just told them he'd sold it.
I don't know. But anyway,
It got sent to the wrong airport.
he came back, said that. He then moved back to the US and started working for Warner Brothers.
Oh,
Ah.
did it turn out he was just a very good lighting technician?
No, he's,
Turns out that's a spotlight.
Turns
I was
out
gonna say,
he
he's
was a
very
Looney
good at
Tune this
prop
whole
design.
time.
He had to talk to a man about a coyote.
Yeah, it's
I can't.
now that was about it when it comes to death ray. No death ray is mentioned again. Barry Grindle Matthews.
It
Now-
was sold, and we never heard about it.
Now there is actually in 1925, so next year, he did actually invent something called the Lumina phone.
I think
Which
I've heard
is-
of that.
Yeah, it's a weird device. I think this is him demonstrating it. But it's an odd-looking device where basically it's it's like a perforated kind of screen with light showing through it,
Yeah.
and the perforations are the size of the light, and like the light beams themselves. If they when they hit a selenium photocell on the other side, they generate a pitched voltage buzz. So by the size of the perforations, like you can get different tones and the like.
So he's made a musical instrument.
Yes. he had a 3-octave keyboard and 1 lamp per key. Like
This is like the early days beginning of the theremin or whatever
What I
it's
was
called.
going to say is this: we're about to find out that this man invented the theremin.
no, it was he made a prototype and he planned to make a commercial version of it, but it never went any further. It did
Probably
it
because
did
it
work,
sounded terrible.
but it was probably like isn't this unique?
Yeah,
Pretty awful.
I'm gonna say for the record, he didn't invent the theremin. That was invented in 1920.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Theremin's early.
1920.
Yes.
That's
But-
awesome.
Yeah, so it's like the size, shape, of perforation determine the pitch, but obviously to change this, you've got to stop the machine and do an entirely new rotating dome and the like. It's nightmarish, and it's just like it feels like
Yeah.
something he would invent.
Overly
for people with-
complex with little use.
which
Nowhere
it's-
near as tuneful
yes,
as the
that's
death ray
pretty much
was.
most things he invents. And I think it's just maybe to get away from the fact that he definitely made a death ray. It's
Why else would he invent such bizarre things that people would
It's-
question?
it's now for the most part it's all quiet on the Western Front till about, ironically enough, 24th of December 1930. So he comes back on Christmas Eve to England.
Does he have a death ray?
No, what he has is a sky projector, and it projects pictures onto clouds. Now,
So-
as far as I'm aware, this actually worked. Yes, this man
He's-
invented the bat signal.
I was going to say, has he just invented the world's first powerful projector?
Yeah. Now what he did. I've got a picture of it there, but I'll play it in a second.
See,
He
I had this
demonstrated
big
a
spare bulb from earlier, and
I was
from the death-
using it
I
in
mean,
my
nothing.
death ray. I mean, my...
He demonstrated in Hampstead by he basically projected an angel and the message "Happy Christmas" and reportedly an accurate clock face on the clouds.
That's cool if it's true.
Yeah. He demonstrated it again in New York. So it seems to enough people seem to think yes, this did actually happen. This did actually work. This wasn't successful either, if only because it was bloody massive. Here's a picture of it.
Holy, it's a cannon!
I'm gonna say that
Yes.
look,
It does look like
How
a
is
cannon.
that not the picture for the death ray? That's like it's
pointing away from the earth.
Yeah, one of the most
That is an
bizarre.
artillery cannon.
yeah, and it is just like this is supposedly a picture of it in action, not an actual business end, but look how horrifying.
That looks like it's firing a death laser.
That's the death ray.
I can't believe he just didn't sell the death ray, just kept it around. But no, this
Like what he's done is he's stolen a turbo laser from Star Wars.
yeah, but the but yeah, so it wasn't practical because you had to have it on the back of a truck. It was 30 foot long and weighed 3,000 pounds. So not the most helpful thing, but it could actually like project on clouds over seemingly a couple of miles. So it was a very interesting thing, and he was going to this the idea that people could buy it and basically have their own advertising on the sky.
Mass produce this.
No, he was basically thinking it's the brand new form of advertising, cloud advertising.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can I just say about that picture? I love the fact that everyone actually seems to be looking at the machine and not into the sky.
Yes. Yeah. So it's one of those. But is that an actual picture of it working? That might be. This might be fake, but also that's seemingly it. But yeah. Anyway, so that was his not death ray. That was
the resolution. Unfortunately, is too low to make out if it's actually being successful and projecting
that's
onto
the
the
thing.
sky.
Well, honestly, that's just the original
Also,
picture.
it only works presumably at night with cloud cover.
Yeah, a clear day is the worst case scenario for this invention.
Oh god, here's an actual newspaper of the time, I think. Or at least an attempt at one. It looks nothing like it, so I assume that they just drew what they thought it was. But anyway. Yes, it's... And Dorsiel lifts automatically.
Even that skeletal frame looks more like a death ray.
It
than the
kind
original death, yes.
of looks like the old-fashioned planes, but with no wings.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, kind of. But yes, anyway. This did not take off. No one wanted to buy it because it was extremely expensive, and well, you had to buy it. You bought the truck with it, and it's
Buy a projector, get a truck free.
anyway. But yes, so this invention was not successful either, and by 1931 he faced bankruptcy. You ask how the hell can you face bankruptcy when you've got at several points in your life quite a bit of money from the government for seemingly nothing?
Can I point at the inventions and go that?
Well, it's that, but also most of his invested money had gone to basically live in expensive hotels pretty much everywhere.
Huh.
And to be fair, a lot of flights between France and England and America and England again for the 1920s. That's a bit...
That's pricey as fuck.
Yes. And anyway, he managed to get past this, and in 1934 he had a new set of investors and relocated to Port Claude, Betwys, South Wales. Yeah, which is a type. Yes, he apparently with the money built a supposedly fortified laboratory and his own airfield. So
I'm sorry, fortified laboratory.
the only descriptions I can find are fortified laboratory. I don't know how fortified. If it's Harry Grindle Matthews, it's probably not dangerous. It's probably just a big light, so it's okay.
You don't want to go over those hills, dear shepherd boy. That's where Grindle Matthews' laboratory is. He's got death rays that'll give you a light burn.
Is that,
Shine a light on
is
your
that meant
light.
to be Welsh, Matt?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
It'll shine these lights at you and it'll bloody blind you, kid.
Yeah, but it's kind of annoying. It's kind of upsetting the fact that his actual sky projector did work, but no one cared at that point.
Too big.
Too big. That's all it says.
The voice from the stars. It's too big.
But yes,
And God
in
said,
1930
put that light out.
yes, and he
Who the
kept on.
fuck is shining that in my house?
Damn it,
You,
it didn't
I'm
work.
not selling any of that shit.
I just love the idea of like someone looking out a window and just getting blood, like as just the words "by Daz" are burnt into like the wall behind him, like Colgate's just like
Then they just start
dominating
burning
the
and melting. And just nobody
But
notices.
the
and they
teeth
don't
look
realise that it is-
immaculate because it's Colgate.
Anyway, after building this laboratory and the like, in 1935, the year after, he claimed that he'd worked on making aerial mines and the like.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
what?
Those are just mines on the end of balloons.
Yeah, but just a balloon.
I'm going to say
and
mine's on weather
There's
balloons.
gold in them there clouds.
No, Tom is in explosive mines.
anyway, and in the same year, he'd also he became involved with this. With it says the right-wing Lucy, Lady Houston, who was a suffragette and political activist. And they basically he intended to carry out experiments in French naval submarine detection from a luxury yacht. The luxury yacht was called the Liberty, and basically it just said in like new research 2010 seemed to explain how Matthews just had lots of issues with carrying out the aims of submarine detection, which is really really useful.
Making whale noises and then listening.
Did he consider shining his giant light down into the ocean?
Although in 1937, he had 2 years later, he had claimed that he had invented a system for detecting submarines. So that's good.
Just a bat in a scuba suit, screaming.
Matt, it's just a big net.
It's a rope between two boats designed to catch a periscope.
Actually, I think that was a thing. I think submarine detectors were a thing.
It was Precisely Simpson, John.
Oh Christ, it was. Anyway, in 1938, he actually ended up married a woman called Gana Walska, who was a Polish-American opera singer and a feminist, who is interesting because basically she was married ultimately 6 times, but he wasn't her last husband, but she 4 times to very wealthy husbands. Like at that time, I believe.
I
Did they all die in mysterious accident?
Is he about to die in mysterious circumstances? This man's been
actually
to death by his own death ray.
Now you think about it, now you mention it, that might be a concern. Anyway, but no, she was very famous, but her 4 previous husbands had owed fortunes totaling about $125 million. So
Christ.
I don't know why the hell you'd suddenly go, Harry Grindle Matthews, your safe bet.
Maybe he's super charismatic.
Like,
he probably is.
But yeah. Anyway, first one she got divorced, annulled. Second one died. Third one divorced, then died afterwards. Well, actually, to be fair, the first one divorced and died afterwards. The fourth one died, divorced in 1931, then died in 1941. Oh God. Anyway, Harry Grindle
Reverse Henry VIII.
Oh Christ, Harry Grindle Matthews. He, as far as he goes, he like they had a couple more happy years together, I suppose. But anyway, he later propagated the idea of the stratoplane, which was I think
a plane that flies in the stratosphere.
I believe so, but
that's
I didn't have this sorted out before.
Was
But
the Blackbird a stratosphere plane, or was that? I don't know what the different fucking levels of the atmosphere are.
I was going to talk about them at some point, but there was an attempt to one. But anyway, and he did join the British Interplanetary Society, although his reputation entirely preceded him, and the British government just no longer wanted to hear from him at all. Just they're not picking up. But so that's that issue. Anyway, he ended up dying of a heart attack on 11th September 1941, 3 years after he married Gana Walska. And the same year her previous husband died, and apparently I'm actually kind of concerned now.
Tom pointed it out, and now you're seeing a pattern.
Yeah, all of her previous husband had either died in 1941 or earlier, and
like how soon after the divorce.
Okay, first one was
we just doubled on.
First one was 9 years. Story. Second one was 4 years. Third one was 7 years. Fourth one, 10 years. Harry Grindle Matthews, 3 years. She was obviously ignored him. And her second and last husband was a scholar of Hatha Yoga and Tibetan Buddhism named Theos Bernard, and author of books on the philosophy of India and Tibet. Married in 1942, divorced in 46, died in 47. Okay. Yeah. She died in 1984, by the way, at 96.
So we've investigated a madman with a death ray and uncovered a potential serial.
Apparently she wasn't the best singer in the world accordingly, but I don't know. Like it was like her first, I think, marriage. After her second marriage, he seemed to be the only one who seemed to particularly like her voice. But it was like, God, headlines of the day read: Gana Walska fails his butterfly. Voice deserts her again when she essays role of Puccini's heroine. Oh god, there's just yes.
Okay, I didn't get all of that, but I heard heroin.
Yeah, no, she basically voiced deserted her on stage, and it was not good. Anyway, but that was Harry Grindle Matthews, inventor extraordinaire, and definitely not a charlatan at certain points in his life. Yeah, so that's him.
I feel like he tried to gamble with the wrong things.
Torch pioneer.
Torch pioneer. Speaking of death rays, I was actually debating doing the Archimedes death ray as a topic. For anyone who doesn't know, Archimedes allegedly built a death ray to burn the ships of Rome when Rome was trying to take Syracuse.
I think it's all more interesting as well as that.
He didn't. There is no, because there isn't enough to do a full talk on this, so I'll just quickly cover it now. He didn't build a death ray. Just there were no contemporary sources that mention it until, like, well, it's not contemporary because in the 600s it gets mentioned that Archimedes burned the Roman ships. It doesn't say how. And then there's another one that has this elaborate drawing of several mirrors that would project the sun's light through the mirrors to burn the ship. Now, Mythbusters...
That was the plot of James Bond Die Another Day. The big mirror that reflected the sun and made it a laser.
Now, I think it was Mythbusters. I might be wrong. Or someone at least does myth busting. They constructed the death ray, and had a little trireme built, and pointed the death ray at the trireme, and it burned the trireme, but it didn't set it on fire. It more just kind of, cooked a spot on it. And they came to the conclusion that if Archimedes had built this thing, one, it would only work a particular time of the day when the sun was facing into the bay where they wanted to burn the ships, and two, by the time it ignited the triremes or whatever other ship it was targeting, the Romans would have moved out the way and or put any minor fire out. So Archimedes did not build a death ray. On topic.
Need to.
But yeah, I had never heard of that guy. Glad I'd have.
Yeah, he's an interesting fellow.
I'd heard of the death ray that was supposedly built in the 20s, and it was a decent rabbit hole I went down. But yeah, I didn't know he'd done like a load of other fake things.
Some of the stuff did work. I mean,
invented the bat signal.
Worked. The bat signal worked. I mean, it's a bloody cannon, but I mean,
yeah,
this 32-inch gun. You put a torch in it.
And you shoot it at the sky.
You put the remaining torch in it.
And then you have not a death ray.
Yeah, to put the torch in it from the Death Ray Mark II prototype. And
why is it labeled this? No reason. Don't you worry.
And in front of it, if you will. And you'll feel it embracing warmth.
Be illuminated. No. Anyway,
real illumination.
God damn it! We ruined it. We missed the opportunity to say you faced enlightenment.
That's the track record, Corby. I can never land the segues, the puns, the quotes,
the words,
the general gist of things.
To be fair, the tweets come out a day late.
They do. It's because it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, fuck it.
Man, that was the segue.
Oh God! Right,
Plug
Corby,
the Twitter.
Corby, we can play it off as it all being one big joke. Anyway, we do have a Twitter, F versus F official with big old capital F's, where we'll post when episodes
F
go live.
in Falcon Punch.
F in Falcon Punch. And of course, Corby and Tom. Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Yeah, that is my handle, so just type that in.
Corby and Tom also have Twitters if you want to follow them.
And you want to plug yours first, Tom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine is at randomjot.
Mine is at GaiusNyx. That's GUIASNYX. If you find one of us, you can find the other. We banter at each other at this point, so we both complain about our editing lives.
And me and John
Yeah.
don't read any of this because we're not on Twitter.
Dude, it's fine. It's a thing. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Do look for that.
Hopefully you've all enjoyed hearing our stuff. Let's cut that out and just go straight to John ending.
I think,
Haha, funny joke, Matthew. Now,
I know.
our facts for this week.
John, we all know that's a lie because Matthew's not funny.
Oh,
No, it was just a statement. He didn't say it. Funny joke, Matthew. Laugh now. he needs direction.
Is he a performing monkey now? Is that what that was?
Look, you're talking to the
Matthew,
audience,
funny
not
joke
monkey.
now.
Anyway,
Or it's back in the
was
pit
this
for you.
Englishman, American, or Scotsman.
I had nothing except Scotsman. Anyway, my fact is that, well, during the 1970s, the U.S. Navy had an issue. See, across the number of years, several of their submarines had to come back to full spectral race to repair damage because the neoprene-like cover of their sonar domes was being torn by something, and basically the sound transmitting oil would leak, and you basically struggle to navigate after that. I believe the Soviets having the same issue, and there was talk of because it's a height of Cold War night, there was an issue where like people were generally thinking that maybe the other side's got something to impair and stop our submarines from working. That's a big issue. Now, none of my enemy weapon was initially feared, but then they found something stuck to the side hanging on to one of the neoprene domes once. A tiny fish, about maybe like 30 centimeters long. This, in fact, was a cookie cutter shark.
Oh,
This is one of the first recorded instances of seeing them, and they recorded before that, but one of the first when they actually identified as a culprit to attack something man-made. And what it turns out is every time the areas they pass through, cookie cutter sharks would just be happy to be in the area and would snatch a bite of the neoprene cover, therefore disabling billions of dollars of equipment in one fell swoop. Well, this tiny, teeny little shark.
watch out, lads! The neoprene's near. Go get it.
Oh,
And in the 1980s, 30 US submarines were damaged by cookie cutter shark bites.
30, Jesus.
Yep. Mostly biting rubber sheath electric cables on the top, which they sold with fiberglass.
Ah.
it's all connected.